So Great Axe Warhammer, Sword and Shield, Flail, like this is standard. This is the IGL slot. It's the Flail IG here. I think it's actually worth having a second Flail on point right now, and the reason why is Flail is incredibly strong. Flail has a few things going for it right now. The biggest thing that's come out is Power Stone. Power Stone's just a passive 20% weaken to every target you hit, right? So Flail's just like passive weaken to everyone on the point for the most part, which makes it really, really powerful. And the other thing that has Flail on the better spot right now is with the removal of Grit. Flail has access to some really, really good stagger ability. So EU tends to run Barrage on point. So that's like access to one stagger ability. I probably shouldn't have taken this alt, to be honest. And then another one that NA likes to run a lot is Trip. Like, both these are really, really good, and there's not really as much of a counter for them anymore. So you see, like, when we're going for crashes all the time, I'm looking for Barrage to stagger people so they can't get out and they get blown up. That's, like, one of the reasons why I think SNS IG isn't as good as right now either. Flail is better. Also, another IG endpoint is just beneficial. I don't think, like, some people have been slotting an IG VG endpoint. I don't think it works anymore. There's just not enough room to really play. For the most part, I think this could be a Flail VG too, but that's like, it's really difficult to play as well. So this is usually a heavy thing. Both Flail IGs go Vines for the most part. Maybe the IGL goes Stone Form. And then there's a Firestaff that looks to hit the point. They have Bile. In terms of top left quad, very common to see the IGVG still, very common to see a lot of Firestaffs. So these are very common slots. We had IGVG, and also Vines is still run by the IGVGs, but basically everyone else just goes Stone Form now because Vines with Purifying Heart has a negative interaction which prevents you from getting the cleanse. So we got two Firestaff IGs up there. The BBVG is actually not getting slotted in war anymore. There's too much melee pressure for this build to have room to operate. It's no longer like viable basically because of that. This is often like kind of a flex slot, like these last two slots here. I think that the two best weapons for flex slots right now are, it's basically just spears. A spear with hatchet and then spear with rapier are very, very good flex slots right now. So I have one with sword and shield hatchet, one spear hatchet. Like those are kind of like your light assassin kind of players. One of them I think should be playing in medium, but it's like this is the slot where those kind of can exist. Kill squad wise is very, very sword and shield heavy. There is some sword and shield hats that's running around, but not many, like one or two tops, and they are basically only play on the bonfire side. So like this was accurate. Firestaff finisher still a thing. Sword and Shield Greatsword is a thing, but you need to be able to get to Serenity. If you don't have Serenity, it's not a thing, and then you just switch this out for another Spear. If you have it, then you just go Greatsword. So that's basically the idea there. Sword and Shield Spear is still common on the inner. The Great Axe, I think, has been mostly phased out at this point. Was tried for a little bit. It's still, like, okay. It's just not as popular. You still see like one IGVG in the Oppo pretty commonly. EU likes to cut this one and goes another like spear kind of build. The musket VG isn't really a thing. It's like not really taken off. We're back into more spears for the most part. So this is another spear. This is usually a spear or a greatsword. All these characters are running stone now. They're all in heavy because we're still in a heavy meta. The only class that doesn't really go heavy is like the spear hatchets that are more assassin oriented, and the SNS hatchets, which are both like not super common builds to see. These are also using stone form right now. And the major thing that we're missing here is more fire staffs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fire staffs. I think people actually run more fire staffs in this run right now. Like it's very common to see like 4, 5 fire staffs. 6 even on EU. So something like this is not unusual. I know we had lifestaff hatchets. They gave up on that. They went back to rapier. And there's a few bows that exist, not many. The other noteworthy thing is a lot of people are using elemental gems right now in terms of the DPS because there's so much slash damage in the meta that you just can't afford to go slash damage because everyone wards to it, so you just do use an elemental gem to convert your damage to a random elemental, and then you just end up doing more damage usually. So that's like high level of like what's going on in the war scene right now. It's a bit different. War still on screen. Oh, thank you. I forgot again. Um, didn't you do a perk heroes already? Yeah, we did armor. We didn't do weapon. I think the weapon one's like less mandatory though. I don't think we really need to do that one as much. So hatchet VGS plus. Hatchet VG is not a thing. Like even sword and shield hatchet feels so squishy that you can't run more than one or two of these. Uh, I feel like bow is not that good of a weapon either right now. Uh, unless you're using the exploit, then it's pretty good. But if you're not using the exploit, then it's like kind of mid. But yeah, it's a very heavy this kind of sword and shield dominated meta. It feels like it hasn't changed that much from last patch. I think we thought hatchet would have a bigger impact. It doesn't feel like it's currently having a big impact, and the meta's kind of revolved back to a similar thing. Oh yeah, this is an IGVG slot too, with vines. Like this is what people are running right now. I think that it's possible to cut like another one of these flails for like a flail VG if you like wanted to, but the problem with flail VG on point is you just don't have another shower, and showers are so powerful. Uh, this is a lot of flails for a point team. I think you need to have SNS either with flail or with IG, and then you have to have like at least 3 IGs or 2 IGs on the point. 3 is nicer. Like I could go IG here on sword and shield. That would be another thing as well. It feels like SNS IG doesn't live as well as SNS Flail right now, though, and it feels like Flail in general is a really good weapon. One other thing that's like really important about wars right now is if you pop a vortex, you can run directly through a shower and you're not slowed. Last patch you were slowed, the patch before that you weren't, and it just feels really good. But I don't know. Has anyone seen any other things that are different? Because I think it's just a lot of fire staffs, because fire staff can keep other stuff at bay. If you don't run fire staff, you need to run basically bows, but I feel like bow has less pressure than fire staff right now. Spear hatchet, medium or heavy? Spear hatchet's a medium build. You can run it in light too. It feels a little bit better in medium. You usually have like one or two of those and are playing the outside looking in on point. No hatchet on healers, or is it preference? It's preference. I think people have generally gone for IG over hatchet recently. Dang, this looks so different than the last year. Yeah, not really. It's like it's a very similar meta. A lot of scorpions. Honestly, we probably have too many scorpions in this mock roster. Like I think you run like 2 to 3, but you don't run a ton of them. Other noteworthy thing, if you don't have Serenity, don't use Greatsword. It's probably just not worth it. Who is Shoulder Biter? I have no idea if that's a great name. I don't know like anyone with the fresh names. Meteor Storm got disease for 6 seconds in AoE. It's a lot easier to do AoE and crash because of the nameplates. Yeah, I mean the other thing too that's really noteworthy is that AoE. It's a persistent effect, right? Like this is Meteor Shower now applies disease, reducing incoming healing by 20%, now going by 10% for all targets inside the area of effect. So as long as you're casting the Meteor Shower, that will apply, which means that Cleanse Pot cannot cleanse this effect of this disease. This effectively makes things like Divine a lot more powerful, almost mandatory. It makes it, in general, very important to play in Sacred, and people get blown up a lot faster. That's why you see people like trying to tank the clump damage, like it's not really a thing anymore. Like you get this disease on you, you're kind of just cooked. Like I was just thinking about that like pre-war, because I normally go Invig on my gear, right? But then I was like, wait, I can't even get rid of that disease, so I don't even know if it's worth it for me to necessarily go Invig on an SNS set now. But if I don't go Invig, I don't know exactly what I'll go, because I don't think Enchanted Ward's good, because people crash with abilities, not with autos. Had no healers running IG right now. I mean, it's not common to use IG. So IG, in terms of healer, so I didn't put any healer tech swaps. A hatchet as a healer is used if you cannot create enough distance. Hatchet, in particular, on a healer is a counter to hatchet. IG is a counter to everything except Greatsword. Lifestaff IGs get farmed by Greatsword, but because people don't have Serenity yet, it's a better tech than it typically is. A Lifestaff IG is also just a generally good thing to go in fort phase, but especially on defense, but on attack is like less popular. Just go Invig with Ginge. See, even Invig with Ginge doesn't cleanse the effect of Firestaff's disease. So no matter what, I'm gonna have a disease on me. That's the weird part. Guessing Grace is a shit artifact. Grace is not usable in terms of medium to large scale PvP. Like, we're talking about this on VC earlier with a bunch of people, but like the artifacts are very, very bipolar right now. They're either competitive or they're utterly useless and not used in any mode, and Grace falls into that latter half, unfortunately. Like, the haste is good, but like, why would I run Grace when I can just get those boots from the worm and then just have passive haste and run around with that? Like, you know, it's like, it's just better. Not even wing leather, Sag. Wing leather is used right now. It's used for firestaff. I don't think other builds really used wing leather shoes though. Maybe hatchet. No, it'd be better to go tumbler. Yeah, unfortunately, tumbler is like so good that you can't play like half the artifacts in the game. Like you either go tumbler if you're in, or you go featherweight for the most part if you're in light. If you're in medium, at least you have conductors now, which I guess are somewhat different. Otherwise you go tumbler again. If you're in heavy, you generally go void dark plate. Unless you have like a super tech like artifact for a certain class like magnetic gauntlets.